All right. Welcome, Gillian, to the Inspired Idiot Show. I basically asked you to come on here. I'll just kind of give you a little preface. This show is for inspired idiots, and I consider anybody an inspired idiot who kind of knows that they want a different kind of life. They don't really know how to get there, how to build it, but they're just committed to figuring it out as they go. I believe that any successful person was and is an inspired idiot. So I like to bring people on here who have done something that inspires me, something I have not done yet, and just kind of get them to share their story. But I really like to focus on the failures and the fears and all of those, like, I have no idea what I'm doing moments. So that's kind of what we focus on with this show. But I like to clarify that this show isn't just about business. It's really about just kind of breaking down like what stops people from even starting to go after what they want.
Absolutely.
So I'm probably going to ask you some like weird, like maybe taboo questions today if you're up
Love
for it, because that's what we do.
Absolutely. That's
Okay.
great. I'm excited. I'm excited to dive in.
Yay. Okay, so I'll get you, I guess, like if somebody was to ask you to introduce yourself, like let's say you were speaking at an event or something, what words would you use to describe who you are today?
I think I would just, I think a lot of people's answer always ties to like their career. And I'm definitely guilty of doing that. I think I'm just like, I used to not think I was creative, but I'm creative in like in a business way. Like I genuinely love it. Like even though I don't want to tie my answer on that to career, I genuinely have so much fun building. I'm a builder basically. Like I love to come up with an idea and then I get very passionate about that. And it kind of encompasses, everything. But yeah, I love to think of fun solutions to problems that I personally have. All my business ideas, I've got like notes on notes and notes of business ideas, but everything is solves like an issue or a problem that I personally have, and all of them are fun. There's definitely traditional businesses that can be you can be very successful in, but all of mine are big ideas, big dream, like big dreamer, and and then I actually start and I actually build. So I don't know if that's not really like a to the point answer, but definitely like a builder and a big dreamer.
Inspired idiot sounds like.
Exactly. That's definitely what drew me here. So
Nice. I love it. Yeah, so I reached out to well, we you and I got connected because I interviewed your partner Erica,
yeah,
and she was telling me about her whole story of building Brodo and now kind of what you guys are starting over and rebuilding, which we'll get into. But
yeah.
she actually suggested she's like, I think you should talk to Jillian because Jillian is definitely an inspired idiot. She, helped build a brand to almost 8 figures, I believe, and now basically is just kind of scrapping it, starting over, and building something that you guys are really excited about.
Mhm.
So, can you talk a little bit about? I mean, that's a pretty huge accomplishment to say that you helped build a business to 8 figures. So, what was that kind of journey like? Like, how did you get into that and then get to where you are today and now starting over and building your own thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to dive like too deep into the previous venture that I had because it didn't really end well. And so there's like, and it's fresh and there's feelings there, but the ending definitely is not a reflection of like the overall experience. Like I had an absolute blast building that brand up from from scratch to that level of success. And you learn like whenever you do something like that, you learn so much at such an expedited like rate. Those types of lessons of like how to manage a team, how to scale a company to that level, those are all things that you cannot learn unless you were just doing it. So I had like an amazing experience doing that. It was 4 years and definitely learned a lot of lessons out of it, but had so many cool experiences through it as well. And as much as I kind of wish that like that partnership could have continued, like I thought I would be doing this for a really long time. I'm also a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. And so like the last year has been like super challenging to kind of like go through the termination of that. Um, and so sometimes it's hard to like actually figure out, okay, that like figure out what the reason actually is. But everything with this travel app and working with Erica has come together so like naturally and organically that I'm like, okay, there it is. There's the reason finally. So it's been awesome. And so So yeah, I've been working with I've been best friends with Erica for I think we met in 2020, and she had a transformative year last year as well. And we were traveling, and we were in Mexico in January, and we're both like, when is there going to be a time that we're both available at the same time? Because I've always thought it'd be really cool to work with her, but with our businesses, we both had our own things going on. There was never really that opportunity. So us both being available, we're both in Mexico, we're healing, but we're also itching to build something again. It just kind of felt like this is the reason. So yeah, we basically are building an app called Doozy. So it's like TikTok meets like TripAdvisor or Booking.com. So the idea is it's a social media app, but it's travel specific. So if you see a video in Lisbon, Portugal, and you want to go there, you can save it, and it will get saved automatically into a geographical folder, so you can easily find that again. And then we're going to integrate booking into it as well. So say you did see a restaurant in Lisbon, Portugal, and you are like looking that night, you're like, oh, I want to see where I'm going to want to go for dinner. Instead of being like, oh, that's the place, you have to Google it, you have to find it, and then you have to book it. We want to have it so that you can just book it right there, see if there's any tables right from the video itself. So it's a big undertaking, but like I said, like it's a big dreamer. Like my ideas are never small. So we're going after something that's super ambitious, but it just feels very right at the same time.
Yeah, you hit on something there that I think is actually really good to kind of emphasize that a lot of times I found, like, especially in the entrepreneurial journey, you go through phases where you just feel like things aren't clear. You're like, I don't know if I'm in the right place. And sometimes it might be that you just aren't working on the right thing, but it could also be just that you're going through a season where things are hard. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people give up in that space because they kind of convince themselves like it's not supposed to feel this way. I must be doing it wrong. Like they kind of convince themselves that they've failed before they actually have. And sometimes, and this was actually something Erica and I talked about, there's a power in, yes, like giving yourself some grace to go through that, but also trusting that you might get that perspective when you come out the other side of it. Like you said, as you and Erica are coming together building Doozy, you felt like you got that clarity of like, oh, this is like the feeling that I was looking for before that I wasn't getting, but you had to come out the other side of it to get to that.
Yeah, I think like everything that I've done in my life, like the next thing is always like better. And I think the struggle that I've had in the last year is usually it's pretty instant. Like one door closes, another one is just open. I'm like, oh, perfect. That's just the path I'm going to go on. But it was just like it took so long to get to that thing that I'm like, okay, that's the reason. And so it was like, it was a challenging year because it just felt like, okay, well, when is the door going to open? When am I going to find that thing? And so I found it now, and I've not had this like much excitement in what I'm doing for a really long time. So I'm really like happy to be in this spot right now. And yeah, like you said, you get that clarity after you come out of it, but it just took a little bit longer to get there this time than I'm used to, I guess.
Yeah, but I think that is like that's so powerful in itself because a lot of the I would say like the inspired idiots that I make content for are often in like those first probably like 3 to 5 years of entrepreneurship. And I do think that the number one reason why so many people don't see their goals through is because they get down on themselves and they convince themselves like I failed, this is too hard, it's not working. But
Yeah.
I think there's power in learning to trust that even if it doesn't feel right today, the only way to get through it and find that thing that feels right is to keep going in some small way every single day, to find a way to keep going. And I think, I mean, you and Erica are good examples of walking away from something that was not the thing to find the thing that is. But
Yeah.
even through that, even through you guys pivoting, like you still kept going. You didn't give up on the kind of life that you want to build.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
Love
And
it.
did you and Erica meet? Did I get this right? You guys met on like Bumble for friends, or was that somebody else? She was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel
Okay.
like no anytime I tell that story, people are like confused because Bumble's a dating app. And I
Mhm.
feel like nobody ever hears of the Bumble BFF, but
I totally
Bumble
knew about it.
yeah. So I was like, it's just hard. It's hard to meet friends. Like I think like whenever you're like when you're in school, you obviously have your school friends. When you're in your work, you have your work friends. But like when you're not in that, and whenever you're doing an entrepreneur and you're kind of doing everything yourself, you don't really have that group of people.
Mhm.
So yeah, I we connected on Bumble BFF because she was another entrepreneur and she was living in the same city as me at the time. So I was like, oh, a woman entrepreneur that's like my age, like doing something really cool. So yeah, we connected. We connected in the pandemic in 2020.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's like part of the reason why I wanted to start making this content was to like just for that sense of community, because I'm sure you can relate that when you have that entrepreneurial drive and you're not living the same kind of lifestyle that a lot of your friends that you grew up with are, it
Yeah.
feels very, very isolating. You're like, I don't know who to even talk to about what I'm going through right now because I believe that as soon as I start talking about how hard entrepreneurship is, the people who love me are going to be like, well, you should just get a job, you know?
No, I've heard that so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, okay, so how I guess that's a good kind of segue to my next question. How did you kind of make that shift from like I assume at some point in your life you probably lived the employee lifestyle. How did you make that shift from employee to full-time entrepreneur?
Yeah, so that's actually kind of a crazy story. So I mean, not that crazy, but I started, I quit my day job working at a marketing agency. So I was in the restaurant industry before that. I was like serving and then managing and all that. And then I always had really like interest in marketing. I would be marketing for the restaurants and stuff like that, just like taking on extra work. And so then I got a job at a marketing agency. I actually tried to hire them to build a project that I had, like an idea that I had, and then they saw how well detailed my plan was, and then they hired me to work for them.
Nice.
So I ended up doing that. But I learned so much at that marketing agency, and I was doing a ton of clients on my own and all that, and it wasn't the place for me to like continue working at. So I quit my job like I don't know when COVID was like announced, but like 2 days before that, or like, very, very, I cut ties and then COVID happened. So instead of me, going off and being a marketing agency myself and getting clients, every client in Ottawa was shut down. Like every like local business wasn't doing marketing because we were all shut down. So we had to like immediately, like right whenever I was like going to start a marketing agency, we had to pivot. So my partner and I, he and I started doing selling on Amazon. So we would do retail arbitrage. So we were, buying things and then flipping them and selling them on Amazon. And we got our like a good stride on that. And then, so the natural progression of that was to then use my marketing skills that I learned and my selling skills to then build our own brand. So that's sort of what that happened. But yeah, I wanted to just start my own marketing agency, but the timing of it could not have been worse.
Yeah, that's interesting. I that was actually kind of my background as well, was like marketing, and then my partner and I did a program that taught you how to basically build your own marketing agency by helping local businesses. And the pandemic was kind of an interesting time because so many local businesses like could still do business but had to drastically change how they were doing business.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like in positions like ours actually had pretty lucrative months during the pandemic because you had these businesses that were like, we need to do things differently. We can't do things in person. But I think if you have that background of marketing and learning how to help businesses and learning how to drive traffic, like those are skills that serve you in whatever business you might get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah, that is true. So my partner owns restaurants, and he had like one restaurant. He had a pizza restaurant that obviously did delivery because you do pizza delivery. But we had to get all of his other restaurants online, and I actually did. Have you heard of ManyChat, like a chat bot
Yeah.
through Facebook and Instagram? And so I built basically an Uber Eats through ManyChat. Like you could order anything you wanted through Facebook Messenger and pay for it, and then it got delivered to you. So I did that for all of his other restaurants to get everybody else online. Of course, he was signing up to Uber and all that too, but we did like marketing, and then we did that. We made a lot of money on those little chat bots because not every single restaurant was getting into the Uber Eats yet. So we just did that fast, and we did really well for the businesses.
Wow. And so you said you guys were doing like Amazon arbitrage. Is that like the same as Amazon FBA, or what did that kind of look like?
Yeah, so FBA is basically like it's fulfilled by Amazon. So you can send your product to Amazon and then they fulfill it. And then there's FBM where you fulfill it from home and you're shipping from your house or
Mm.
wherever, your warehouse or whatever. And so FBA, so arbitrage means where you're basically buying sales and you're selling it for like the difference. So it's a big hustle. You have to find sales all the time. Like we would go to Costco, we would go to Walmart, we'd find clearance, and then we would find that same listing on Amazon. And if it sold for more, then we would sell it for more. So we would then, pack up, big boxes of all these different products that we, sourced, and then we would send it to Amazon, and they would fulfill it every time somebody actually ordered. But there were existing products, like it would be like, a pack of Colgate toothpaste or something like that, like brands that you already know. But on Amazon, there's like multiple sellers on it. So we would just be one of the multiple, and we'd sell it at the price point that it basically always sells at. And then we would just make the difference. So you have to find the sale and then you sell it for the difference.
Right. Yeah. It does sound like it would be a hustle for, I'm assuming, like pretty small margins, or did you find it was pretty lucrative?
Yeah, you basically had to, because Amazon takes like a pretty big cut. So you have to at least find it for a third of the price. That's like your bare minimum. You have to, like, if it sells for 30 online, you have to buy it for 10. And that's like, you're making very small margins, but yeah.
Okay. And that was something like, did you feel like when you were doing that, that was something that you knew was kind of a short-term thing? Or was there a point where you were like, no, we're going to go like all in on this?
It's kind of like we actually started getting pretty good, and then we started getting actually like suppliers. So one of the products that we sold was like disposable cameras, but we were selling it. We found a supplier and we were buying it at wholesale rates. So that was like kind of the progression that we were going to, so that it wasn't like we didn't have to go find it in a store and then buy it and find it for sale. It was like we get this price point all the time from this supplier. So that was pretty good. And then that's when we started making more margins, because we were buying at wholesale rates, and it was regular supply. So we did well with that, and we started getting like different suppliers for products like that. So it ended up being pretty good. And also with the way the world was in 2020, and like it was COVID, like it kind of was like, yeah, if this is what we do for a year, or if we get really good and we get a lot more suppliers, like it could definitely be a long-term business. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you've said so many things so far that really, to me, exemplify that you have that entrepreneurial mindset. Like the fact that you have these big ideas and then you just figure out how to do them, like making the many chat sequences for your partner. But what was I going to say? Shoot, I had a point and now I feel like I lost it. Um, Let me backtrack here a little bit.
Just figuring it out, entrepreneur.
Yeah, I had a point that I was going to make, and I mean, my point still stands. I definitely can like feel that entrepreneur mindset in you, that like you just go for it. So, I think what I was going to say was I think that part of that real like entrepreneur drive is thinking in long terms. Like I was watching a clip from the social media channel, The School of Hard Knocks. It's like that guy that walks around interviewing super
Yeah.
successful people. And he said that one of the kind of pieces of advice that he's heard over and over and over again from different billionaires is that they think long term, like they think in terms of decades, not in years. So part of that is also recognizing when you're doing something that you kind of have a feeling like this is not the forever thing, but you can appreciate that this is the thing that's getting me to the next step right now. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a little bit of power in that as well. Like knowing like, okay, this just because I'm doing this doesn't mean I'm stuck in this forever. I'm not becoming an employee here, but it's okay that this isn't the forever thing. There's something in this experience that I think is going to push me into the next thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So how did you go from doing the Amazon stuff to then working with that last company that you've now parted from?
Yeah, so we were, I mean, like I said, it was a hustle to find products that you can get, and we were really focusing on things that maybe we can get like regularly and at a certain price point, because it's way better to like plan, because whenever you're just going after the sales, you're really like at the mercy of like finding it, and being at the right place at the right time, and stuff like that. So I found the product on a TikTok video, and I realized that it wasn't being sold anywhere in North America. And it was along the lines of the products that we were already selling on Amazon. And so I was like, okay, this is a cool product. It doesn't have any presence here. So this could be something that it's not just going to be another product on our Amazon store. It's going to be something that we can actually like market and build. And I, like I said, like I like the big ideas, and like it was definitely it came to me as a challenge, to build something from scratch, instead of because what we were used to is just finding products that already exist that people know, regular brand names, and then having that sell. But it kind of goes back to me wanting to start a marketing agency and build something and really like do marketing outside of just the Amazon platform. So there's a lot of things that kind of appealed to me, and so then I reached out and sent a big long pitch email, and then we went back and forth, and then that's how we became the exclusive distributor for that product in North America.
Okay. Okay. So that was your business. Like you weren't necessarily like an employee of that company. You were kind of an olive branch, like you were a distributor for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So I basically, had my own website, my own social media, my own everything, and we purchased the product from them. They obviously made their margin, and then we did whatever we wanted with that product to market it, to sell it in any avenue, in any place we wanted to, obviously within North America. But yeah, we completely operated it separately, but we obviously bought the product from them.
Okay. So I mean, it sounds like then you kind of had like a blank slate almost. Like they agreed, like, yeah, we can do this partnership, but you really had control from that point of like, okay, how do we get this out there and market it then?
Yeah, exactly. Like also, they were mostly selling in different countries with different language than English. So even the materials that they had, there was not very many English like materials. So really, everything that we did was basically our team.
Okay. So I mean, put me in that position of like, okay, we got this go ahead, we're gonna push out this product. Like you had a bit of marketing background, but was there ever a moment where you were like, holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'll just like figure it out. Like what did that feel like to be kind of in charge of that?
I don't know, like, and I think this is where like the inspired idiot comes in. Like, you have to be delusional a little bit. Like, I don't think there was like ever a point that I didn't think I could do it, and so my partner put in the money for our first order, and he tells a story. He was talking to all of his friends, and he was like, "What do you think about this product?" and asked them all about it, and they were like, I don't know. I don't think anybody would buy it." And then he's like, "Oh, well, I just dropped this much money on it," and they were like, "Oh, okay, then whatever." So they didn't really think it was going to sell, and then so he put the money behind, mostly probably because I was passionate about it and I said that I could do it. And then so I think he maybe had some doubts. But I guess with like the money like investment, it's at the very least we could sell it for the price we bought it. So we shouldn't like the money shouldn't be gone if it doesn't sell. And our first and then we launched in January of 2021. We did like $5,000 worth of sales. In February of 2021, we did like 28,000. We're like, okay, it's getting there. And then March we did $404,000.
Wow.
So his friends were like, never mind.
Oh my gosh.
Good investment. So
Wow. Oh my gosh. I feel like I have so many questions. But that's interesting that you said like at the very least we can like we kind of you set that bar for yourself of like because that's one of the things that I always am like encouraging people to do when they get into business for the first time. I'm like for example that coaching program that I said I did that taught me how to grow a marketing agency. I now do content for that program and I'm very often having conversations with people that are like considering joining it. And a lot of these people are employees that want to become entrepreneurs. So they see this as like a side hustle they can start. And one of the things that I feel like I'm always saying to people is like the program is like a few $1,000s to join. And I always say to people, if you honestly believe that you could at least do the bare minimum to make the program pay for itself, like do the
yeah,
bare minimum and earn the 3 grand back, because then you're going to prove to yourself that you could actually do it. And you're going to be way closer to your goal of being an online entrepreneur. So
yeah,
if you believe in yourself enough that you believe you can set that bar and hit it, you're going to be fine. If
yeah.
you're sitting here thinking like, holy shit, I'm going to lose that money, I don't think I'm even going to do that, then like,
Don't
okay,
invest
don't do
it.
it then,
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. You
But
need
yeah,
to you need to believe in yourself to get there. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't
yeah,
start. And that is probably a reason why a lot of people don't start. Is they think of like the worst case scenario, and maybe they aren't like 100% confident that they can do it. But you kind of need to have that like delusional expectation of yourself that you can do it, or you're
yeah.
going to do everything that you can to make it happen.
Yeah, but I think like what you did, like setting that bar of like, okay, this is the very least that we could do. This feels realistic, and I believe we could at least make back what we spent on this. I
Mhm.
think that's super important because I always kind of think of like you can choose to send your energy in one of two ways. You can put your energy into what if it doesn't work out? What if we just lose money? And like that's like where your attention goes, your energy flows, right? So you can choose to focus on that, or you can choose to focus on the best case scenario and like, what if this does work out? What if I make it pay for itself and we actually make money off of it? But like for a lot of people, and like for me at least, like I did not believe that I could make over $10,000 a month until I saw myself do it. Like that self belief was not fully there until I was like, holy shit, I just did that. But I
Yeah.
think you don't always need to believe that you can get the specific outcome. You just need to believe that you are going to hold yourself accountable to that low bar that you've set. Like it really is more self-belief in the beginning. Like I just believe I'm going to hold myself accountable, and then you'll see yourself hitting those accomplishments.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Once the
Okay.
success starts coming, then you just keep growing.
Yeah, and I mean you're going to have a lot of moments where you're like, "Holy shit. We just did that."
Yeah.
Oh my god. So when you guys went from, you said like around 5K to 28K to like what was it, 400K that third month?
Yeah.
Can you like take me back to that moment? Like what did that feel like to go from such a big jump? Like was it super exciting? Did it feel scary, overwhelming?
Yeah, it was crazy. It we actually sold out on the first day on it was March 1st we actually sold out. We didn't actually have any more product. But
Okay.
so I put the whole site on pre-order and we did $400,000 on pre-order.
Wow.
So it was like it was crazy. And but there was like a lot of like shortages of stock and stuff like that during the pandemic. So it was like it was just like it was just every day there was. I mean, we had orders coming in and I couldn't send product out. It was everybody was notified that it was pre-order and they wouldn't get it and they'd be notified and stuff like that, but it was just constant updating the customers, just having that open communication, making sure that they know like, okay, this is where I estimate that I'm going to get this product and I'll be able to send it to you at these dates, and from order number blank to order number blank these ones are going to be the next ones to be shipped out. Like I would send out updates, and I was just like, it just like I don't think there was like a time to, I mean there was excitement, but there was not a time to like worry or really anything. It was just going with the flow because it was just so, it just came so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So did you ever feel like, because you that is a pretty significant jump, did you ever feel like overwhelmed, or like your business was kind of like consuming your life, or like did you ever feel anything like that?
Not really, because I've enjoyed like the process. So it doesn't really like feel like that overwhelming. It's just or that it's consuming my life because it's just it was enjoyable. And like that's why like all of the ideas or like the things that I want to pursue are things that I don't mind spending my days on. Um, like I work a lot and everybody like around me is like, oh, she's working, she's in front of her computer again, and I'm like, yeah, but like I genuinely have so much fun with it. Like at the end of the day I'll talk to my partner and be like, oh my god, I did this and this and this, and I'll show them, and I'm like, I'm just genuinely excited about it. So it doesn't feel like, even if there's a lot and it's like more work than most people do, if it's something that you enjoy, it really doesn't feel like it. Like it's like actually your passion. So yeah, that's kind of how I've felt with like most things that I've been doing.
Yeah, I think that's also the difference though between when you feel like you're building something for yourself in a way, like you're like, this is my baby, this is my thing that I'm building. Like it's easy to get excited about that. There's a very different feeling from like working all the time on your business and essentially
Mhm.
like the life that you're building versus working all the time at a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no 9 to 5 job that like would be able to get me to like to what we built with the last business, and what I'm hoping to build with the next business. Like I think the most rewarding thing that I've experienced with the success that I've had is being able to like for the last I think 4 years, like this we're coming on the fourth year, I've taken like all my friends and family to Mexico and I basically pay for it.
Wow.
And we get like a big 6 bedroom villa, and it's like the most like special, and we do go for a month, and it's like the most special time because it's people that we, friends and family that we don't necessarily like see that often, all get together, and we all like meet there, and we just have a really good time. And like that's like what I want to do more of, and I want to make sure that like the people that are around me, like it's not just building success for myself or building success for myself and my partner, it's building success for like all the people around me.
Hmm.
And I think that that's been like super rewarding to do. And so that's like that's worth building, and that's worth working really hard to get, is to do more things like that and supporting people, in different ways.
Yeah, nice. My partner and I are actually probably going to go to Mexico for a month this winter.
Oh
I've
yeah.
never been yet. I've always assumed that like, oh, I'll go to Mexico when like somebody gets married there or something, because it always seemed like just the place where people go to all inclusives. But I think we're going to go and spend like a month and probably go try to like volunteer at some like greenhouses and stuff. That's kind of the business that we're getting into. But yeah, I'll have to get.
If you don't have a city in mind, you should go to Puerto Vallarta.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
what?
it's not like I think I really like it because it's not like just touristy. It's very like there's people living their real lives. Like tourism is not their main market, the main industry. So it's it's safe. I feel safe walking around there. It Yeah, there's lots to do. I really enjoy Puerto Vallarta.
Nice. Yeah, one of the things that we want to do when we're there is find some like greenhouses or like food production businesses where we can go volunteer, because that's a big part of like what we're building. Like the business that we're building basically is we want to build like a huge tropical greenhouse in the middle of Canada. So we want to create like a kind of like a tropical oasis in the middle of where we have, -40 winters.
That's
And
awesome.
so yeah, the inspired idiot's dream. But
I love it.
that's what we've been like very slowly working towards. And so we're starting to like make content about it and put it out there. And we want to travel, but we want to go to places over the next year where like they are producing their own food. And Mexico is a huge producer of corn products and fruit and stuff. So we want to go down there and learn about some of like the growing practices and volunteer and stuff. Um, but yeah, I'll kind of pull us back on track here.
No,
Um,
that's really cool. I like hearing like how different people like build businesses. Like this is what these conversations are so good for, is like it's things that you don't really necessarily think of, but somebody else thinks of it, and it's like, wow, that's really cool that your brain went there, my brain went there, but like it's just that's what these conversations are so like fun.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I feel like if you and Erica are focusing on making travel and tourism kind of more fun and accessible for people, that is a big angle of what we want, because we want to eventually build this so big that people from across Canada that maybe like I don't know can't afford to go on a tropical vacation, or they just want to see like how can I grow my own food in the middle of this cold climate, like that's really a big part of the dream for us, is just kind of show people like, hey, we're the ultimate inspired idiots. Like if you think your goal is unrealistic, we're building a tropical greenhouse in a frozen wasteland.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
um yeah, it's going to be really cool. But if you oh man, I could just go on a rabbit hole about the greenhouse idea. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the future.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
if like going back to when you guys made that big jump, like 5K one month, 28K one month, 400K the next month, did you start doing things differently, or was it just that your efforts just took a little while to like really take off? Like what do you think changed in those 3 months that made it grow so exponentially?
Well, there was only like 2 people in the company at that point. Like it was really like no, like there was no really change. And I think things like, I mean, in an ideal world, we would sit down and be like, okay, how are we going to plan with this like newfound growth and like all that kind of stuff. But it was it happened so fast, and I didn't have inventory for the orders. So like, and it was just, and whenever I did get inventory, it was just like me packing in my house, and like we had like backlogs of like huge orders. So there wasn't really time to change the structure or build systems because it came so fast. So it's not like we really changed everything. We were honestly taking it like day by day, because it just happened so quickly. I like most companies, they have like a growth that's like a little bit like slower, but it was like overnight, and it so we didn't really have the ability to like pivot and change the way we do things. We were just like just trying to survive another day.
Mhm. So were you guys doing like more like paid advertising or like organic content?
It was all organic. We didn't do paid advertising for about a year.
Nice.
And then we built that out because like I knew how to do paid advertising because I was in marketing and all that, but we just like we didn't have to, and we didn't have inventory, and the inventory was like really slow to get. Like we were waiting months. So it was, we couldn't really advertise. Like we were just like letting the sales come in through our organic marketing, but
Mhm.
we weren't really like advertising even more than that because we didn't have any that they could actually get in for like another couple months. So
Right. So how
yeah.
do you do organic content when you don't actually have the product? Like did you find like you were just going out and like filming videos yourself, or were you getting like influencers to help or
So we did a few influencers, and then I hired a content creator in house because I'm not usually like the content creator like type, so I don't do the videos, but I know what works. Like I do a lot of the content strategy, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I did a lot of like content planning, but I'm not the person to do the filming and being in front of the camera. That was the first person I hired, was somebody in house that could do the content, and then we like brainstormed together and on like the content and stuff like that. So I contributed on the content, and we had cameras, like, but we didn't have cameras to fulfill all the orders. So basically, we would make videos about the cameras with the cameras in the shot and stuff like that. But we just didn't have any more coming in for a while.
Okay, okay, gotcha. Man. Oh, there's so many things I want to ask. I mean, so you said like one of the like in that experience of helping grow that company and growing your own brand in the process, was there any point that you felt like, holy shit, this feels risky. This feels really big. This feels like a lot on my shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't really want to go too into like the end of things,
Yeah.
but I felt like in the end, like the last like 6 months or so, we had grown our team really big for like future growth opportunities that we thought were coming, and then those kind of like dwindled away, I guess. So that kind of felt a little bit risky because our labor was very very high. And it's not like I'm like, okay, perfect, I'm going to lay people off. It's like, okay, well, we need to expand a little bit and try to like come up with another like avenue to because the original way that we were going to expand was no longer. So we wanted to be like, okay, well, we were preparing to expand and needed the extra people, and now we have to kind of do that. So I think the riskiest I felt, like everything felt like very natural and organic, and everything felt like really good. But it was the last 6 months that I was doing this business. It felt a little bit stressful, a little bit risky, because I'm not one to be like, okay, I made a bad decision, or circumstances changed, I'm just gonna lay people off. I'm gonna try to keep them, but try to bring in another revenue stream that could justify that. So I think that's like the biggest risk I've felt,
Mm-hmm.
is just like the growth, and then the original plan of the reason why we had that growth not continuing. That's kind of like we need to figure something out.
Yeah. But I mean, even that experience of going from like being kind of a solopreneur to then just you and your partner to now like managing a team, I'm assuming that the way that you worked and like the things you spent your day to day on probably shifted when you're dealing more with like managing people as opposed to just managing yourself. So,
Yeah.
how did you kind of make that shift to feel like, okay, I'm still productive, I'm still working on the business, but now like this is something that I think a lot of people really don't know how to navigate, is like, okay, I've grown this thing and it was my little thing, and now it's grown bigger and I'm trying to bring other people in, but if you've never had any kind of like leadership training or anything, you kind of just throw yourself into it and hope that you do a good job. So how did you kind of shift the way that you worked when you were like managing other people?
Yeah, it definitely is hard because whenever you do the solopreneur thing, like you're really doing every aspect of the business. You know how to do everything, and you also know that like you're pretty good at like getting things done because like whenever it's you working on it, and then now you have to delegate. So it's not like I found the solution. It was always like a work in progress, but to delegate tasks and to trust that they're going to get done to the level that I want it to be done, and like how to train. It's just this constant like moving thing, and dealing with like like obviously there's the people and how to train specific people in one way and other people in another way, and dealing with like the personalities and stuff like that. It's definitely this shifting thing, and there's no real like one answer at all. But yeah, just try every day, try to kind of get to know the person's personality, so you know how to approach them with certain things. That's just it's just a constant juggle. But I guess like my struggle, which a lot of people do as well, is to actually have that, like, I'm going to hand this off instead of doing it myself.
Mhm.
I always have a struggle with like, okay, well, if I don't understand it completely, like if it's a problem and I don't understand the solution, then I have a hard time being like, fix this, because I don't I don't know what it is. But so I'm more of like I want to figure out how to fix it, but then the work is halfway done. But I need to trust more people to just like, if I say, hey, this is the problem, you find the solution. That's like the hard thing for me, because I find the solution and then just tell them to do the last 10% to actually do the problem, fix it once I've found the solution. So I think that's like I feel like that's the hardest part of like the delegation process, is to trust other people to find the solution instead of just yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something that you kind of learn how to get good at in time though, and like that's another thing that I feel like I kind of pass along to people who are new into getting into business is like some people really want to outsource things right away that they just don't want to do. Like in the marketing agency space, a lot of people are like, I don't want to prospect, I don't want to cold call, I don't want to reach out to people. So, can I just hire that right from the beginning? And I'm like, yeah, you can, but if you're trying to hire somebody to like do cold calls for you and you have no idea, you've never done it before, you have no idea how you want it done, you have no idea how you want to approach people, like you not only can't give this person great direction, sure you can hire somebody who says they're great at cold calling, but if you find that they're booking your calendar with people who keep not showing up or they're not booking your calendar at all, you can't even like go in and audit them because you've never done it yourself. So you have no idea how you want it done. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of a skill that you learn in time by putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions and doing things like you can know that you want to outsource it one day, but I think that you should know how you want it done before you try to hire somebody else to just completely handle it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm doing for Doozy right now. So I never coded anything in my life, and I coded our web app, and I'm on version 2 of our web app that should be releasing soon. Our plan was always to get like somebody to build the mobile app, because I just feel like that's a different beast, and you have to do certain like requirements to be able to be in the app store and all that. And but when we were talking to developers, I was like, I don't know what sounds good. I don't know if like they're saying like, okay, I can do this. I don't know the tech like lingo to even like talk to them. So then I started learning how to code, and I did all the coding so far, and I've loved it. Like I literally have like, I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? Like I didn't know I liked coding, but I really do enjoy it. But now whenever I'm talking to people, they're like, oh wow, you actually know like what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, like, and I just think that that's so much better, because I don't want to get like, especially with like a mobile app build, like it's going to cost money, it's going to take time, and if I pick the wrong person to do the mobile app build, then we've just wasted time and money, and that's like, that combination is really bad to waste. So
Mhm.
but now I can actually talk, and like, they definitely know way more than me. I'm not going to say me in 8 weeks knows as much as somebody that's been doing this for 15 years,
Mhm.
but I can have that conversation with them without just blindly trusting that they're talking about doing it in the right way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, like I said, I think you definitely have that entrepreneur mindset of like, I'm just gonna figure it out, and it doesn't mean that I need to figure it out perfectly, but I'm gonna understand what I'm trying to do here so I can get to the next step.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been a lot of fun to do it, and I'm just like learning so much so fast. And then the people that I talk to, I'm like, oh no, he wouldn't be good because he didn't mention this.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's good to have that knowledge, and I felt like blind without it. And then now
Yeah,
that I have a little bit of that knowledge, even if it's just my base level of knowledge, at least I can kind of have those conversations. And yeah.
yeah.
So
I can you talk a little bit about like the kind of big pivot that you made? Because obviously when you walked away from the last opportunity, you had probably a little bit of a time in there where you weren't actively working on any business, you're trying to figure out like what you want to do next, and you said you and Erica came together and then you guys decided, okay, we're going to go down this venture together. But what was that kind of middle period like? Like, did you feel disappointed? Did you feel like you failed in any way? Did you feel like, holy shit, how am I starting over right now? Like, can you kind of take me back to that period?
I think we haven't had it because like the ending was really not good. We were in a dispute legally, so and it's like it's only clearing up now. So I haven't really had that like. I mean, so when we were in Mexico in January, because we do that every year for a month, um, I think like the only kind of downtime, like we were still involved in this thing, this fight or whatever. But I did spend like an actual break because usually when I go to Mexico, I'm still working, the days and I hang out with everybody on like the evenings and the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
But I've still been working because I've been running a company. So I would say that's kind of like the only downtime that I've had. Was I didn't have anything to work on specifically, so I was just really just kind of relaxing. And then Erica came and visited us in Mexico, and then we started talking about that. So there, it was like a kind of a slow thing. Like we didn't start it right away in Mexico. We just kind of were like, okay, this is an idea that we probably should do, and I let myself have some time to kind of to heal, even though I was still going through the peak of the hard times, and really just had to focus on managing that. But now it's coming to an end, and I'm really happy about that because it's a huge mental toll to go through. There's a lot of emotions of like closing down stuff and having a dispute with people that you've worked with for years and all of that. So there's a lot of emotional stuff to work through. So I kind of just let myself focus on that, and then sort of in the last few months have been building something again. So there was not really a downtime because it's not even really over. It ended like 9 months ago or 10 months ago, but
Mm-hmm.
hasn't really been over until like this week.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But I
Yeah.
think that's something that kind of stood out to me with both your story and Erica's is that you guys went through a very big pivot and almost like a starting over phase. And I think that's something that I've noticed a lot of entrepreneurs fear is like, what if this doesn't work out and we have to start over? And I mean, even Erica's story specifically of like moving back in with her parents, like that is like a lot of people's ultimate fear is like, what if I can't make this work or it doesn't work and I have to start over and I have to move back home? So, like, being somebody who has kind of gone through something like that, where you're like, yeah, I grew this thing, I had to leave it and completely start over with something new. But it sounds like you kind of saw that as like a little bit, I mean, I'm sure there was mixed emotions with it, but it sounds like you really leaned into the excitement of the next thing as opposed to like really dwelling on that starting over of like, oh, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely catching me on my upswing. I definitely had some really negative times over the last like year. Um, and just being so like, I mean, it's all consuming when you have that kind of, situation going on. It really is all consuming. And so I wish from the beginning I kind of had that like positive mentality, and like so now I do have it. Now I have something that I'm passionate about and like that I'm excited about. So I'm really happy to be in this position right now. It definitely was not like that for a long time. It's been a very challenging year, but um, it's not like because like I said, it's literally only ending now. So I think like I can forgive myself for not being that positive mindset like the whole time. It is hard, and you're right, like that people don't want to be at that point with starting over. I feel like whenever I was I had the success, I didn't really fear starting over. I'm like, I could do this again with something, but it wasn't like when you're in a dispute like that, it's different. There's different things happening and different financial constraints that you can't really start over because you don't know what's happening next. And so that's been kind of the hard part. Like I've never really feared having to start over because I believe in myself that whatever the next thing is, but it's not knowing when I'll be able to do that. Or that's been the challenging part of the year, is just not even knowing what's going to happen like in a week.
Mhm.
So, if it was just cut clean and that was it, then I'd be like, okay, I can take some time, I can regroup, I can do that. But it wasn't a clean cut.
Yeah.
That's kind of what made it a little bit more challenging. But I'm definitely on the positive upswing now, and found that like excitement and motivation back, which is really exciting.
I mean, the really cool thing that's standing out to me about just like talking with you now is you seem, and correct me if I'm wrong, you seem like in all these different experiences and all these different phases you've gone through, you have that self-belief. Like you seem like you really believe like you'll just figure it out and you just go for it and you're like, "Oh, I have this marketing experience. I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I know I can do this." Do you feel like you've always kind of been that way?
I don't, probably not. I feel like I didn't really get like entrepreneurial until, I mean, definitely after high school. I mean, I did actually start a music festival in Ottawa whenever I was 16. Um, so that was like a cool project that I did before high school, but I didn't really think like I feel like I didn't even really know entrepreneurship was like an option, because like every time you talk to people in school, it's like, oh, which university are you going to? And it's always like that's the path that everybody takes. And so I went to college and I dropped out, because it just like I had to pick something that I wanted to do, because that's just what you do. I didn't really know entrepreneurship was like, even a thing. So I don't know if I had like that self belief always, or even really know that I could like pursue my own thing. It just kind of happened again, like kind of naturally, like in my restaurant jobs, where a server. Then I was like, I wanted more responsibility, so then I became manager, and then I wanted more responsibility after that. So then I was like, I could do some marketing. Like I can promote this wing night on Mondays, like no problem. So I just like take stuff on, and it just kind of like naturally. And then I got like my bug for wanting to create and wanting to build. So I don't think it happened always, or I didn't even really know it was like an option for me, I guess.
Hmm. That actually segues really well into a question that I really like to ask people. Was there a mindset that you feel like you had to kill to become who you are now?
Yeah, definitely. I think with that is, um, I think I had to kill the fact that I didn't think that I held the characteristics that an entrepreneur has. And the reason why I say that is because, and this is the same for everything, like whether it's an entrepreneur or anything, is within the age of social media, the only people that you have exposed to, so like the only entrepreneurs that you see on social media are those really extroverted types that post about their life on social media. But you don't ever see the person that's behind the scenes, more of an introverted entrepreneur, because they're not posting online. So the only thing that you see in literally any industry or any type of person is the people that are the extroverted type. You don't see the lives of introverted people because they're not putting their lives out there. And so I'm a very like behind the scenes, hunker down and really work and get stuff done and plan and execute and like all that kind of stuff. But I'm not really like the content filming my life all the time. So I never really felt like I related, because the only people that you actually have as role models are the people that are on stage doing speeches, posting all the time on social media, documenting their life, because that's literally the only people that show their lives. So
Mhm.
I think I just felt like, oh well, I can't be an entrepreneur because I'm not like inherently extroverted.
Mhm.
Um, so I think like having to kill that is like, okay, you don't actually have to be that. That's just the ones you see. But I've met a lot of entrepreneurs that are doing really cool things, have awesome success, and they're the ones that are behind the scenes. Like if you Google their name, you're not gonna find them like even really attached to their companies, but they built the company. And I think that's seeing that and having the experiences with meeting people that are like that. I'm like, okay, I don't have to be the person that's doing a speech on stage to call myself an entrepreneur or to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that actually is a really, really big motivator for what made me want to make content for Inspired Idiots is like I feel like, and this is what really attracted me to Erica's content. I feel like, especially on platforms like LinkedIn, you see a lot of those like shiny success stories. You see people talking about their book hitting the bestseller list or their business hit seven figures, and like you see a lot of those success stories. And I noticed that people would talk behind the scenes about like the grind or how hard it is or like all the failures behind the curtain of success, but a lot of people weren't openly sharing those and like talking about like, hey, if you feel like you're doing it wrong, it doesn't mean that you're failing. You actually are on the right track. And like I really wanted to see more content of people talking about like just the messy middle of entrepreneurship, not just like, hey, here's this like great thing I did and you can do it too. Because if you don't show people that side of it, that kind of behind the scenes part, then people can't see themselves in that. And I think if more people talked about entrepreneurship the way we are today, we would see more people building successful businesses because they would be like, oh, well, I mean, I know how much, Jillian struggled, or I know Jillian had to start over. So, like, maybe this isn't the end for me.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's, yeah, it feels very unattainable whenever it's just success story after success story.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're like, oh, well, I'm not there yet. So, like, maybe I don't belong. So I think that that is definitely hearing more. And I love Erica's content too, of just showing the struggles and like actually being real, is really, really refreshing because it's way more relatable than just because most people don't, hit the top level of success. So it's really like a niche crowd, or like, oh, I aspire to be that, but there's the getting there that is a lot more important to document, I find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That kind of piggybacks into my next question. Did you feel like was there any belief that you had growing up that you have realized like just kind of turned out to be total bullshit?
I think something that I've like thought about, I've posted about it too, is that like knowing your weaknesses is kind of strength. So I've been definitely guilty of like whenever I was doing job interviews and stuff like that, like trying to make my weakness, my biggest weakness on that question that everybody gets asked, kind of sound like a secret strength or saying that I'm like actively working on it. But I found that like it is okay if you actually have weaknesses. And it's actually kind of better to that if you do know what they are, because like for me, I'm not good at like the administrative stuff. I'm like, I could spend a lot of time trying to improve myself on that, try to like make systems in place that just makes my admin life a lot easier. Or I can live in a little bit of unorganized chaos. It's only for me. I obviously know enough admin to like get me by. I can't ignore it completely, but I can live in that and just hone in on the things that actually come easy to me. And then whenever you get to that point where you can, offload some of the tasks or outsource or hire, then you can find somebody with complementary skills. You don't have to be like, if you're focusing on building and improving your weaknesses all the time and not, really excelling at the things that you are good at and that do come easy for you, then like you're just going to be like equal at like everything. But you don't necessarily have to keep improving your weaknesses. You can just be like, that's not something that comes easy to me, so I'm going to focus on the things that do and get really good at those.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like that reminded me of like if everybody solely relied on ChatGPT to write for them, then everybody would sound the same. And if
Yeah,
everybody's always trying to like iron out their weaknesses and kind of level everything out, then everybody would perform the same. I think what makes you unique and what's going to make your business unique is leaning into your strengths and not trying to fix your weaknesses.
yeah, yeah. That's what I think, and I know that like, you know everybody like, especially whenever you're unorganized, everybody's like, how do you like handle all that? I'm like, I know where things are. And that is fine for me. I'm going to just focus on like, I could spend lots of time cleaning up my desktop or doing all this stuff, or I can just really get work done in the areas that I'm actually good at. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I prefer.
Nice, nice, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the last question that I always like to ask people is if you could say anything to people who kind of feel like inspired idiots and they're like, I want to build this business, maybe it's a greenhouse business like I do or whatever, and they're like, I have no idea how to do it. Nobody in my family has pursued something like that. What would you say to those people having gone through everything that you've gone through?
I would say just start, because there's so many people that have ideas and they never start. And then as soon as you do start, understand and appreciate that you've done more than most people. And then that kind of like, that kind of can set the your self-confidence, being like, I've done more than, like, I actually did it. I started, even if it's like just one step at a time. If you make that step, then you've done more than most people have actually done. And then that can give you the confidence to be like, okay, well, I can do another one. That wasn't so bad. And you figure out things as you go. Like, you're not going to be able to, like, don't wait till it's perfect. Just start, and then appreciate that you've done so much already. And then just keep going. Because so like there's not a business owner I don't think in the world that hasn't pivoted or had to change directions ever. So if you didn't start on the right, exactly the right path, you've got time to pivot and change.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Just start and just trust that you're going to figure it out as you go and just take it one step at a time. I think a lot of people tend to focus on like the problems that are going to come up 10 steps from now. And I feel like I'm always saying, yeah, well, you're not there yet.
Yeah,
You're like, if you're at step 2, you are not the person that you're going to be when you're figuring out step 12.
yeah,
So just figure out step 2 because that's where you're at.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
And don't
what's
get discouraged about what the people that are posting their successes on the internet, because you'll get there too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They didn't get there overnight.
Yeah.
So in terms of how you guys are moving forward, you guys are going all in on Doozy. What like with where things are at right now, what would you want people to know about Doozy? Like how can they learn about it? Who is it going to be for? What kind of information would you want to put out there to people right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now it's at the stage where it's a web app. So you can go to doozy.app and you can create an account. And basically that account, whenever the mobile app launches, we also have a Discord community where we put updates. So if you want to know even more whenever that will launch, you can join that. So whenever the mobile app does launch, that same account that you sign up, you can create a profile, you can add your username, set up your whole profile. Then you could just log into the mobile app with that exact same login. So we're setting it up so that it's transferable. So whenever the mobile app is set up, you already got your profile, and you can follow users. And soon we're going to have it where the creators are going to be uploading their own videos soon, and you will be able to like browse the videos that the creators are posting. So yeah, it's progressing on the web app version, and as the mobile app is being built. So I think that that's really exciting that we're not just like we're not just we don't just have an email list that you can sign up for. We actually have a functioning app that's going to get more and more features as the mobile app is being built.
Mhm.
And it's for travelers, and it's for content creators in the travel space as well. So there's we are solving a problem for our own selves while we're traveling. We want to make it a lot easier to discover, plan, and book, and that is what Doozy is going to do. It's going to be one platform that does everything. So it's definitely for the traveler that's looking to book a trip and wanting to know where to go, where to eat, where to stay. But then also the creators as well. So that's a major part of it is we're onboarding creators, we're verifying the creators, and only verified creators are allowed to post content so that we can make sure that the content is travel related because it's specific to only travel.
Mhm.
And we will be rolling out like monetization options for the creators. As the app makes money, the creators are going to make money for their contributions to the platform's success. So yeah, it's creators and travelers alike, and then of course, like later on, there's going to be opportunities for businesses to claim their listings on it, just like you can do on social media and like Google and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. So, in terms of the creators that you guys are looking for, like what does that verification process look like? Are there certain kind of like qualifications or like what do you guys look for in creators?
It's changed a bit. We got a lot of applicants. We got over 4,000 applicants from a single video on TikTok that went viral.
Wow.
But basically, right now we're just even if you're a great content creator, we're trying to just focus on the travel space because a lot of times people are in different niches, and the but our platform is for travel only. So we're just verifying people that are have posted travel content, reviewing hotels, restaurants, itinerary planning, all of that kind of stuff
Mhm.
that would be sort of beneficial for people to watch on Doozy.
Mhm.
So that's how we're doing it. We've got a creator application within the app. So you just sign up to the web app and make your account, and then you can apply right in the create tab on the app.
Mhm.
And then soon we will be rolling out the different features for people to actually upload their videos, and we'll start populating the feeds with different travel videos.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm so excited to see how it rolls out. That's going to be sick.
Yeah,
Oh
thank
man.
you. I'm excited
Um,
too.
yeah, so if people want to check that out, they can go to doozy.app. They can also find you and Erica. You guys are on LinkedIn. I believe you're on TikTok as well.
Not so much, but not me, but Doozy is on TikTok. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll plug those links in the show notes.
awesome.
And yeah, this has been cool. Thank you for hopping on with me.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Doozy rolls out over the next year. So we'll stay tuned for that. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now, but thank you again.
Thank you.